My name is Elena Rivera. I'm 29. I live in Seattle. I work in IT support at a tech company. Logins, access, system logs. That's my job. We have an internal system where all activity logs are recorded. Sometimes, even employee messages show up there. On normal days, I don't pay attention to them. It was a Monday morning. I woke up on my own. I picked up my phone, 5:03 a.m. No alarm. I tried to go back to sleep, but couldn't. So I opened my laptop. That's my habit. First thing in the morning. Check logs. System opened. Everything looked normal. I was scrolling without thinking. Then I saw a message log. Opened it. It wasn't meant for me. It was just recorded in the system. Sender, Adrian Cross, Arsa. Receiver, Neil Walker, data security engineer on my team. Message, don't come to the office today. And don't open your laptop. Trust me. I stared at the screen. That wasn't casual. Adrian doesn't send warnings like that. If he said it, there was a reason. He's simple. Good at his job. But not the type to take things seriously right away. Open more logs. Just out of curiosity. But things started feeling off. Late night logins. Activity from Neil's account. Times he's never online. I checked timestamps. Again. And again. They didn't match. Froze. Just staring at the screen. That was the moment. I could have done something. Could have called him. Or sent a message. Don't come today. But I didn't. No strong reason. Just a feeling. Maybe I'm overthinking. Then one thought crossed my mind. What if this isn't just about Neil? Pushed it away. Closed my laptop. Got up. The past few days at work had been strange. Kevin Dalton, back-end developer, suddenly resigned. No goodbye. Just a short email. Then 2 more people left. No one was saying anything openly. But everyone knew something wasn't right. Even Adrian felt different. Ending meetings early. Walking out mid-discussion. I left for the office. That message kept replaying in my head. As I reached the building, I knew something was wrong. Police vehicles outside. Lights flashing. No sirens. People standing in groups. Confused. I saw Neil. He waved at me. Like everything was normal. He had no idea. I could have walked up to him. Told him everything. But I didn't. I just stood there. Silent. Security stopped us at the entrance. No entry. My phone rang. Lisa, HR director. Elena, log out of all systems. Now. What happened? Yes. Your access is being revoked. Immediately. Call ended. I opened my laptop. Tried to log in. Access denied. Again. Same result. I looked up. Neil was still there. Confused. And suddenly, it all made sense. This wasn't sudden. Something had been happening for a while. And I had seen it. At 5:03 a.m. And I did nothing. Well, it was probably too late. People were slowly stepping back. Some making calls. Some just watching. Neil walked up to me. Do you know what's going on? I shook my head. No. Lying felt easy in that moment. Why is the police here? He asked. Maybe an audit. Or some internal issue. Even I didn't believe that. Then 2 men walked out of the building. Black jackets. Showed badges. Walked back in. This isn't normal, Neil said. I didn't respond. Another alert. Company message. All employees are advised to stay outside until further notice. People started leaving. Stayed. Neil checked his phone. My system isn't logging in, he said. Tried this morning. It gave an error. When? Asked. Before leaving home. That message hit me again. Don't open your laptop. Did you do anything unusual? Asked. External access. Files. He frowned. No, why? I dropped it. Lisa came outside. Full HR mode. Everyone stay calm. We are handling the situation. Her voice was steady. Her face wasn't. She looked at a list. Called a few names. Neil Walker. Neil looked at me. They're calling me. He walked toward her. I stayed back. Couldn't hear what they were saying. But her tone was formal. He came back. Less confused. More tense. My access has been suspended. What? Asked. Yeah. They said there's an investigation. What kind? They didn't say. I looked at him. He looked genuinely confused. Something inside me felt heavy. Did you do anything? I asked softly. What do you mean? Anything unusual? Data, files. He straightened up. No, Elena. I didn't do anything. Fast answer. No hesitation. And I believed him. A news alert. Opened it. Headline. Seattle-based tech firm under investigation for data breach. I scrolled. Multiple employee credentials suspected in unauthorized access. My heart started racing. What happened? Neil asked. I showed him the screen. He read it. Went silent. My account, he said slowly. I didn't answer. Two men walked toward us. Same black jackets. They stopped in front of Neil. Neil Walker. He nodded. You need to come with us. We have a few questions. He looked at me. Just for a second. Like he was trying to understand something. I said nothing. He walked away with them. I stayed there. Phone still in my hand. The news still open. I scrolled down. There was a list. Suspected employee accounts. I started reading. Name. Bree. And then. Neil Walker. I stared at the screen. And in that moment, one thing became clear. This wasn't a warning. It was an accusation. And I had seen it all. Before it happened. And still, I did nothing. They had taken Neil inside. I stayed outside. The crowd was starting to thin. Some people had already left. Others were on their phones. But for me, everything felt slower. Like my mind was running on delay. I looked at my phone again. The same news article. The same list. Suspected accounts. Neil's name was still there. I locked the screen. Closed my eyes for a few seconds. And one thought hit me. Is this really happening to him? I looked back at the building. No one was allowed inside yet. But IT staff usually gets access later. About an hour later, they let us in. Limited access. Some floors were still sealed. I walked to my desk. Everything looked the same. Monitor. Keyboard. My coffee mug. Only one thing had changed. I didn't have access. I tried logging in. Access denied. Again. Same result. I looked around. Everyone else was doing the same. Some frustrated. Some just sitting quietly. Stay calm, Elena. Told myself. Then I remembered. The IT backup console. Separate from the main system. Restricted. But usable in emergencies. I stood up quietly. Walked toward the server room. Cold air. The steady hum of machines. I turned on the backup terminal. Entered my credentials. This time. Got access. The screen opened. I went straight to logs. I knew exactly what I was looking for. Neil's account. Activity timeline loaded. I started scrolling. Late night entries. Same pattern. But this time, I looked deeper. P-logs. Access routes. And then, something different. Some entries weren't direct logins. They were remote override accesses. Meaning, someone had taken control from inside the system. I zoomed in. Matched timestamps. This wasn't normal user behavior. This was high-level override. I checked earlier entries. Same pattern. Again. And again. Neil's account. But control from somewhere else. My hands paused. I whispered. This wasn't him. The cursor blinked on the screen. Now the real question was, who did it? I opened the access trail. The system shows override level. I read it. And stop. Level. Executive override. That access isn't common. Only a few people have it. I ran through the list in my head. Adrian. I pulled my hands away from the keyboard. The room was silent except for machines. I looked at the screen again. Logs don't lie. The override trace was clear. The source was masked. Whoever did this knew how to hide. I leaned back in the chair. Everything started connecting. The message, the warning, the late-night access. Now, Neil was already trapped, but the real control was somewhere else. I looked at the screen one more time, and for the first time, I doubted myself. I was inside the system. I saw everything, but was I really just watching? Or was I already part of this story? More than I wanted to believe. I shut the screen, walked out, and one thought stayed in my head. This isn't simple. And if I don't act now, the next name on that list won't be hard to guess. I stepped out of the server room. The hallway was filled with low voices, people trying to act normal. But nothing was normal. I went back to my desk, sat down, didn't turn the screen on. My mind kept going back to one thing. Executive override. That kind of access isn't random. Not everyone has it. Do. And Adrian does. No one else. I rested my fingers on the desk, tapping slowly. That's what I do when I'm thinking. If the logs are right, Neil didn't do this. But the system says he did. Which means someone used his account on purpose. Closed my eyes and remembered something. Kevin. His last week. He was different. Quit. But not distracted. Like he was trying to solve something. One time he asked me, "Do logs ever feel off to you?" I laughed it off. "They always feel off," I said. He didn't respond, just nodded. A week later, he was gone. I opened my eyes. Chair slid in front of me. I looked up. "Detective Grant. Are you Elena?" he asked. He nodded. He sat down. No pressure. "You work in IT support." "Yes." He placed a file on the table. Didn't open it. "We have some questions about system logs." I stayed quiet, listening. "There's activity that doesn't look normal," he said. Asked slowly. "What kind of activity?" He didn't answer directly, just looked at me. "You review logs, right?" He nodded. "Then you must have noticed something." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. I knew what he meant. He said, "Yes. Some entries look unusual." He leaned forward slightly. "Can you explain?" Pause. I could tell him everything. Or just part of it. He said, "There are logins from Neil's account. At times he probably wasn't online." Grant nodded, like he already knew. "And?" he asked. Stop. Override. That word stayed in my head. I didn't say it. Just that. Unusual timing. Grant looked at me for a few seconds, then closed the file. "All right," he said. "We'll be in touch." He stood up, walked away. I stayed there. My hands felt cold. I didn't tell the full truth. Not everything. Why? I didn't fully understand. Maybe I wasn't sure yet. Maybe I wasn't ready to say a name. Or maybe I didn't want to see myself on that list. I lowered my head. Now it was clear. Neil is trapped. The system is against him. And me. I know the truth. But I hid it. And that felt heavier than anything else. 'Cause now, this isn't just an investigation. It's a decision. And this time, if I choose wrong, it won't just be Neil. I'll be part of it too. And this time, if I made the wrong choice, it wouldn't just be Neil. I'd be part of it too. I opened my laptop again. This time, I wasn't guessing. I was looking for proof. Through the backup console I pulled deeper logs. Went into hidden layers. And that's when found it. A manual override script. This wasn't normal access. This was written code. Designed to take control of another account. Opened it. And everything was clear. Target account, Neil Walker. Access window, late night. Data transfer path. External server. My hands went cold. This wasn't a hack. This was planned. Neil's account wasn't compromised. It was used. I scrolled down. And then I saw it. Author ID. Cross. Stop. No doubt left. Adrian Cross. He wasn't outside the system. He was inside it, controlling it, using Neil's account to move data out. Why? Because if anything went wrong, the blame would fall on Neil, not him. I pulled older logs. And then, Kevin's name showed up. He had detected the script. He tried to report it. And right after that, he resigned. Now everything made sense. Kevin saw the truth. Adrian removed him. And to cover everything, he chose Neil as the scapegoat. I didn't close the screen this time. Not now. Copied everything. All logs, all scripts, all traces, and sent it directly to Detective Grant. No call. No explanation. Just proof. Next morning, police were outside again. But this time, it was different. Adrian Cross was being escorted out. Hands behind his back. Face calm. But his eyes were empty. People stood there in shock. No one spoke. The news broke within hours. COO arrested for internal data theft and employee framing. Details came out. He sold company data, manipulated internal systems using executive access, forced Kevin out, and framed Neil to cover it all. Neil was released the same day. I met him that evening. He was sitting on a bench. Quiet. Different. I walked up to him. We stood there for a few seconds. No words. Then he asked, "When did you know?" I answered, "That morning. 5:03. He looked at me. Just look. "And you didn't say anything?" I lowered my head. "No." He didn't get angry. Didn't shout. Didn't argue. He just said, "Okay," and walked away. A few weeks later, the company collapsed. The investigation exposed everything. Kevin's case was reopened. He had been forced out. Neil was cleared. Completely. But what happened stayed with him. And me. I survived. But not completely. Because the truth is, I could have saved him earlier. The beginning. But I waited. I watched. I hesitated. And by the time I spoke, everything had already broken. Even now. Sometimes I wake up early. Look at the time. 5:03. And the same thought comes back. If you tell the truth too late, it doesn't save anyone. It only reduces the damage. This story ends here. Completely. No confusion. Who did it? Adrian. What happened? Data theft and framing. Why? To protect himself. Who was blamed? Neil. Who saw it? Elena. And who told the truth? Late Elena. And that delay changed everything.